To shed light on this dire situation, we're joined by Mr. Mohamed Abu Shama, specialized in Arab affairs, live from Cairo. Welcome, Mr. Abu Shama, and let me ask you, the humanitarian situation in Gaza appears to be worsening daily due to Israel's relentless blockade and military aggression. How has this directly impacted food security for the people of Gaza?
You and your viewers, there is no doubt that the humanitarian situation in Gaza is worsening, especially with the winter coming, which is going to be a harsh one on the Middle East, and the suffering of the people of the area in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria will be harsh under this. These are the three countries that are violated by the Israeli aggression. And of course, in Gaza and West Bank, this is worsening. All the international reports are pointing that Gaza is under famine and the humanitarian situation is worsening. And this is deliberately continuing with the Israeli aggression as Israel wants to evacuate Gaza of its inhabitants and push them out of Gaza. Has been apparent in the strategy of the occupation army in the north of Gaza over the previous weeks, where the demolition of homes and the aggression against hospitals are intensifying, especially what's happening in Lahia and the Kamal Adwan hospital recently, as well as many hospitals that are out of service now because the occupation army wants the life of the Gazans to become a continued hell. No food, no way of ordinary life, or not even the minimal level of needs. The Gaza Strip is turning into hell, and the occupation army is continuing to do that. And of course, after all this period of 14 months, the Palestinians are still suffering greatly, and the international community, unfortunately, is totally incapable of saving the Palestinians, and all the efforts being exerted on the Arab level and even the Egyptian state level to provide the humanitarian aid to Palestinians is faced with a lot of awareness of Israel, backing it by Israel. And Rafah is incapable of providing the aid from Egypt and the other friendly countries to the Palestinians. The flow of these equipments is always stopped, and also there is a problem in the distribution, a problem in extending it to the now totally isolated. It's like a prison to the people there. And there are continuous attempts by the occupation army to empty these places from its inhabitants, and they are trying to segment the Gaza Strip into areas with full control of the Israeli forces. This is a systematic plan, and the next day in Gaza that we have waited for more than a year is not coming, and this is happening while there has been an announcement of the collapse of the negotiations that were hoped to stop the fighting and allow the entry of humanitarian aid because of the positions of the Netanyahu government and his radical far-right ministers.
And of course, all of this in addition to looting of aid convoys that has even compounded the crisis. The absence of one order, exacerbated by Israel policies, contributed to this breakdown.
Actually, life is not existing in Gaza at the moment. All the ways of life are not there. And as I pointed, it's a plan to forcibly evacuate the Palestinians out and to displace them out, so they have to run or die or surrender to death where they are. And this is also indicated by the number of the Palestinians killed. So far, more than 45,000 killed. Most of them are women and children, and a huge number of injured people who don't have a place for hospitalization. Israel is continuing to empty Gaza Strip from its inhabitants with continued aggression and continued policies that make the life of the Palestinians a continued hell, destroying the hospitals, destroying the refugee camps. This situation is now also moving to the West Bank, because the action on the ground by Israel is also trying to do the same to the West Bank, to make West Bank another Gaza, the way South Lebanon became another Gaza. And this is part of the plan. Everybody that Israel deems as enemies or as a threat to the Israeli security. This is the Israel's way in implementing its plan. In seeing the population and asking them to stop resistance and asking them to accept its occupation of new areas in Syria. This is a continued policy of occupation and colonization.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Israel will not be stopping it and will not be abandoning its plans under all this international silence
Yes.
and under the confusion of the positions of the American administration in the transition between Biden administration to the new administration. And
Yes.
in all cases, when the new administration comes, I think it will give the government of Benjamin Netanyahu more of a green light and more of facilitation and support to continue its policies of genocide against the Palestinian people and the forced displacement for
Yes.
whomever remains
Yes.
in
Thank
Gaza
you.
Strip.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamed Abu Shama, for shedding light on the devastating humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The plight of Gazans demands immediate global action to address Israel's ongoing aggression and to ensure the delivery of vital aid to those in need.